Welcome home to St. Anne's. We want you to know that you're welcome to join us at 10 a.m. on Sundays. Please be sure to hit subscribe to receive our sermons. We can't wait to meet you.
If I had a bunch of money, I'd get a Tesla. Rough readings, right? For those of us who are middle to upper middle class, hard readings to hear. Which is why this is the one time that people who say to read the Bible literally say don't. Because when it comes to my stuff, then my rules change. My rules are fine when they're for you, but once the rules start to impact my things, this stuff that I collected, that's different. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about our discomfort with that, and then some other things. One, this is an incredibly important reading because we want to go to the Bible to tell other people what to do. That's our favorite thing to do. We want to quote scripture to tell other people what to do. My favorite is when people come to me and they're like, yeah, but you're supposed to do this because this, and this, so I can do that. And I'm like, yeah, that's not really how it works. We're supposed to go to scripture to learn how we're supposed to live, not vice versa. So this charming individual comes to Jesus and is like, hey, tell him to give me stuff. And he's just like, I don't think you get what we're doing here. So let's talk about what we're doing here. And so he explains a little bit further. And actually, all of our readings today really focus on this human obsession with things. We love stuff. We love stuff so much that we use God and other people to get and keep and have our stuff. And God keeps saying to us again and again, you've got it backwards. You're supposed to love people and love creation. You use this stuff to love people and creation. But my friends, we get it backwards again and again. Feel a little bit better that it's been this way for like all of time, that we've struggled with that. Because we as humans just struggle with our greed and our need to acquire. We're like raccoons that don't have hair. We're bald raccoons. We just flit around and we're like, ooh, shiny thing. I want the shiny thing. Oh, but you have to, no, beat that one and take the shiny thing. Because I require the shiny thing. Of course, then you die. And you're like, got all these shiny things. And your kids come along and are like, crap, what are we supposed to do with all this shiny things? If your kids or you haven't had that conversation with a generation above or below you, it's coming. Or they're having it at Thanksgiving when you're not invited. Because we all like, but I have this huge collection of whatever, it's priceless. Yeah, it's only worth what somebody will pay for it. And now we've all got to put it in boxes and take it somewhere. And Goodwill's like, we don't want that. Okay, but we have committed our entire life to the acquirement of the things, right? And God comes to us again and again and again, and God says, you know what? It's not the things. You're loving the things. When the things are really meant, there's nothing wrong with the things, okay? I know you want me to come up here and stand here and rail about we should have nothing. We're going to go live in a commune and hold everything in collective together. And I mean, I'm getting a Tesla. You all are living in the collective. Just so you know. Just so you're prepared. But that's not the message. That's too easy a message. It's too easy to stand up here and talk about the awesomeness of this stuff or the evilness of this stuff. And again and again and again, Jesus comes to us and says, no, you want it to be too easy. It's not that easy. It's not that simplistic. And I'm not going to give you a yes and no answer on that. I'm going to say it's more complicated than that. So he gives us the parable, the story of the person who's getting all this stuff. He's the raccoon, right? And he's got so much stuff that he doesn't have enough room for the stuff. So he has to building out back to store all this stuff. You know that person. Don't act like you don't. Right? And so we get more stuff because you got to acquire the stuff. And then what are you going to do with this stuff? He could have noticed all the people in creation around him, but he wasn't. He was too focused on the things. And so your life is over. This comes, I'm going to go all psychoanalytic on you. This comes from our need for control. Our requirement in saving of things comes from our need of control because we're so afraid of our mortality that we cloak it in, well, I'm just seeking security. You can't seek security. We're going to die. I don't know if nobody has told you that yet, but we're all one step closer to being dead. Okay? And that's okay. Can we be real with that for a second? But we are so afraid of the future, and so we create ways of feeling like we can control it. You can't control it. And that's probably a good thing. Because have you seen what happens when humans have control over things? It's not good. We don't need control of our future. We don't need control after we're dead. Okay? And so remember, this is all coming in a time, obviously we don't do this anymore because that would be crazy. But this is all coming from a time when really rich people would build things to be remembered forever. I know, it's a good thing we don't do that anymore. We've learned our lesson. Because we're not doing that. I'm so glad we've learned. But we have this need for control of what we cannot control. That's what anxiety is. Anxiety is this sense that I need to control that which is out of my control. And we as humans have it in our very core of our being. I must control things that I have no control over, because then I'll feel safe, and then I'll feel secure. It doesn't work like that. There is no sense of safety nor control, and that's okay. God got this. God got this. Can I tell you a story? Today is the 10th anniversary of my being at St. Anne's. Yay, I've been here for 10 years. I'm not sure I would applaud that. So 10 years ago today, believe it or not, this does actually impact the gospel, but these kids are going to be like, you can't keep talking forever. Okay, so 10 years ago today, I got a phone call from the McNutts, and Tricia said, Meg, just so you know, there's a refrigerator on the porch of your office, but we don't always live like that. And then I almost killed Chuck Franklin by making him carry a refrigerator into my office. And I lived in McNutt's basement for a while. Did you know that? Yeah, I did. It was like having a rat in your house. A really big rat. Because she had to feed me and I stole her dog. So it's been 10 years. So 10 years ago I came, and it's been an incredible blessing. And then 7 years ago, around my kitchen table, David and John Edwards and I sat and said, this can't be done. It can't be done. And we said, but we're going to figure it out. We're going to figure it out. And so 7 years ago, I went bivocational. I went part-time. That was a crazy time. I don't recommend that to anybody ever. When somebody's like, hey, you got a new baby, you should go back to graduate school. Because Wesley turned 1 my first month here. And then we decided to have another child because, what's one more? And then we were like, yeah, one more is one more. Brand new baby. In fact, we met around my kitchen table in her high chair and gave her Cheerios so that we could have meetings. David's like, yeah, I remember that. I still got PTSD from it. And we said that can't work. So we did something new and different. And then I'm going to be incredibly brutally honest with you. So, as I always am. So then a few years later, and the vestry knows this, I got a wandering eye. And they were like, how about you go on sabbatical? That didn't work out. But I got a wandering eye, and a church just recently reached out and said, hey, we'll pay you quite well. And we've got to go to this reading again. And I'm going to tell you a really creepy way that I pray. This is really bizarre. I have lots of different ways that I pray. But one of them is I'll like read and then I draw horribly. Okay, don't think that this looks anything good. But I draw. I make a mark and I see where it goes. So like that is a praying thing that I do. And so I've gotten this like crazy offer from another church. And so I'm praying and I'm drawing, draw my little circles. And then I have a tree. And I'm like, well, that's dumb. Okay. So I'm drawing, and eventually I have a dog. Do you know what the state tree is of Missouri? The dogwood. The dogwood. And I know that sounds crazy and bizarre, but you know what? God works in weird ways. So here we are. And I go to the scripture again and again and again because did you know that you need your income? You can be happy. The prime income to be happy is $75,000. Did you know that? You only need $75,000 to be happy. You go much over that, it doesn't get you anything. Lower than that, and you can't survive. But roughly $75,000 is what it takes to be comfortable and happy in the United States. Does it feel like that to you? Upper middle class people, does it feel like you're super comfortable? And no, because we think based on what is around us. We have wandering eyes. So for those of us who are in one section of the world, it feels like you need this to be happy. Americans are, and this is true, Americans have the highest sense of I need more to be happy than any other country. We all think that if I acquire the things, then I will be happy. Right? Happiness is something that we seek outside of ourselves. But that's not the way it works. Joy is within us. It is something that we create. Not by comparison or acquiring the things, but by seeking God here, now, in God's creation. Loving God, loving God's creation, loving God's people. But we have wandering eyes, and that is what Jesus is saying. You want to use the church to acquire the things. Because I'll be honest, I went to seminary. Some of them are becoming bishops. They've got cardinal parishes. All these awesome things are happening, right? Do you ever look at people that you went to college with and you're like, whew, they're doing all the things. They've got all the things. They're taking all the trips. They're going all the places. Don't act like you don't do it. I know you do. I know you have Facebook. Nobody feels better after scrolling through Facebook. Nobody. And you're posting stuff to make other people think that you've got the perfect life. Don't worry, they're doing the same thing. All right? We do it as churches. We look at all those other churches. They're doing so well. Well, but what if? What if we listen to Jesus just once? I'm not asking you to do it all the time. But just once. What if just once we listened to Jesus and said, what if it's not about the things? What if it's not about the things? What if, just stick with me for a second. Just stay with me. What if it's about God? What if? What if? What if it is about loving God, following God, loving God's creation, loving God's people? What if? And that is our challenge. What if?
We want you to know that you're welcome to join us at 10 a.m. on Sundays. Please be sure to hit subscribe to receive our sermons. We can't wait to meet you.